And let's see how profit margins are calculated. All right, so profit margin represents the percentage of sales that is turned into profits. Net earnings divide by revenue. The higher the margin, the more attractive the investment. That is one way for us to look at a company's valuation as well. The higher the margin, the better. But not just because of valuation, it's also an indicator of a company's financial health, the management skill, the growth potential. The higher the margin, the better. I think that is extremely straightforward. But how do we use margin? 20 means high, 30 means high, compared to peers? What is it that you think would best be used when it comes to using of margin? Ladies and gentlemen, the things that we have learned today, number one is to map it out, the growth, consistency, and high. The other one is to compare with the 1,000 days average. The other one is compared to peers. These three skills on revenue growth, earnings per share growth, on your PS and P ratio, on your ROE and PE ratio and PS ratio. Now, when it comes to profit margin, I want you to guess, or I want you to tell me, compared to peers, compared to 1,000 days, or growth, which one would be used for profit margin? Come tell me. Growth, peer comparison, or historical comparison? Peer, growth, peer. Compare historical growth. Wait. Well, the majority of you chose growth, and that is exactly correct. Now, I'm not to say that you cannot compare to historical. You can. But if you compare to historical, in this case, because historically speaking, I'm looking to see a growth in my margin, right? Therefore, no need to compare to historical already. As long as it is growth, it is higher than historical. And most importantly, when you compare to historical, it must be normally distributed a bell curve. You have enough days, you have enough data to compare 1,000 days, and then it will usually go back to the middle, to the mean, to the fair valuation, mean version. When it comes to margin, there is no such thing as a bell curve. So we can take away historical comparison. Compared to peers, it's useful. It is really useful. However, you cannot compare two companies doing different things, their margin. You cannot compare Sunbeam's margin with Franken's margin. You cannot compare UWC margin with, let's say, Armada or Hibiscus margin. They are very two different businesses. It's not a level playing field. So there's also a flaw there. And even if you compare two businesses that is doing almost the same thing, they have their own business model that is somewhat different from each other as well. So what do we do for best results? You take margin growth. Simple as that.